Thank you. Please be seated. Before we proceed with the items on the agenda, I need to remind you of the usual housekeeping messages. There are no fire alarms tests planned for this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please leave the chamber by the nearest door, then follow the illuminated fire exit signs and assemble in the car park at the rear of the building. You have the right to film this meeting if you so wish, but I would like to know before we begin, so if anybody wants to, could you please indicate now? That's fine. Would you also please ensure that the phones and tablet devices are on silent mode? And finally, may I remind councillors to be mindful of the language used during this meeting and to be respectful towards each and other ones throughout, please. First item on the eating agenda is apologies for absence. Apologies for absence so far have been received from Councillor Beavers, Councillor Barry and Colette Birch, Councillor Henderson, Councillor Howland Vincent, Councillor Holden and Councillor Fairbanks. Are there any more apologies? Yes?
Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. That's it? Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes. Can I please have a proposal that these minutes of the council meeting held on 15th of September 2022 be approved as a correct record? Okay, is there a seconder for that proposal? Thank you. Does anyone want to comment on the factual accuracy of the minutes or propose any amendments? No? Okay. With those members present on the 15th of September meeting who are in favour of confirming the minutes as a correct record, please indicate. Yes? Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the declaration of interest. Do any members or officers have any interest to declare on any items including on the agenda?
I've got non-pecuniary interest in item 8.
Thank you for that. Yeah. The next item is announcements. I would just like to make an announcement about some forthcoming events that will be held in the name of my Mayor's charity. On Saturday the 19th of November, I'm having a pre-love fashion show at the Wyre Bank in Garstang. Tickets are £12.50, including a glass of Bucks Fizz and canapes. And then on Monday the 19th of December in the Members' Lounge, we're having a Christmas concert with the encore singers, where it's going to be mulled wine, mince pies, tea and coffee, and then tickets are £7.50. And also, just to put in your diary for next year, the Mayor's Ball is at Garstang Golf Club on the Saturday, the 25th of February, and tickets are going to be £45. They'll be coming out shortly. Okay, thank you. The next item is the public questions or statements. We've got any at the moment. There are no questions from the public for this evening. So the next item is questions of notice from councillors. Again, there are no questions of notice from councillors. So we will move on to the next item, which is the executive reports. First, the reports of the Leader of the Council. In the absence of Councillor Anderson, Councillor Michael Vincent, will you please introduce the report?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm apologising. I had a jacket with a poppy on it and it's at my office. Please forgot it, so I wouldn't normally be sat here without a jacket on. Nothing I can do, I'm afraid. Happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Councillor Fail. We won't toss a coin, but
no.
Go on.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Councillor Bell indicated first, and then Councillor Sir Robert Atkins indicated second, and that's on my list. So
Talk to you later.
that's That's the process that you will get in the years, and I'm afraid we should continue with it.
Right, Councillor Fail, please.
Yeah, sorry for being quick off the mark there. Well, the country is in a bit of a mess, isn't it?
No.
A third Prime Minister in 7 weeks, with the last one choosing ideology over pragmatism with disastrous results. Tax cuts for the rich, uncapping bankers' bonuses, trickle down on steroids, totally misunderstanding the needs of the country and our citizens. The economy tanked, mortgage rates rising, private pensions nearly perished, and with inflation at 10%, a cost living catastrophe across the country. All of this directly affects Wyre residents. In fact, with 6 of our wards in the bottom 10% for income deprivation, and with the borough having a high proportion of pensioners, the chaos created by the last PM and her Chancellor will have a greater impact here in Wyre, especially on our most vulnerable residents. In March, the Labour group highlighted, and not for the first time, the known deprivation issues in Wyre. 6 wards in the worst 10% for education, skills and training deprivation, 6 wards in the worst 10% for employment deprivation, 6 wards in the worst 10% for income deprivation, and 7 wards in the worst 10% for health deprivation. In March, we asked for a business plan that would put these issues on the Council's radar, delivering the better outcomes residents actually need and deserve. What we have witnessed with this incompetent and reckless Conservative government and its Prime Ministers over the last 7 weeks should focus our attention. With uncertainty as to when the death knell will finally toll on this zombie government, we can't afford to wait. We have to take responsibility for what happens here in Wyre. Will the Deputy Leader therefore commit to formally tackling the deprivation issues that exist in Wyre? Will he provide a business plan that actually addresses these issues and protects our most vulnerable whilst the government is destroying our economy? Thank you.
Councillor Bidlin, would you like to respond to that, please?
Yes, Madam. I don't recognise Prime Minister Sunak as having his own government at all. I think that the Conservative Party have acknowledged a mistake in appointing a leader who wasn't fit for purpose and have moved quickly to replace her with somebody competent. Perhaps when the Labour group do that, Councillor Fail will need another job. But ultimately, I can't defend what happened, and I can't defend the mini budget or the fiscal statement, whatever it was. But I will say that now that the markets have rebalanced, and now that we have a very competent Prime Minister, I have every confidence that the Conservatives will, if they aren't already, become the party of sensible financial government again. You've already seen that reversal of things like the fracking ban and much of Jeremy Hunt's reversals of the policies that were made. It did impact the people of Wyre, and so that's why we need to address them and hold our handle to that. In terms of acting responsibly and decisively for the people of Wyre, we're already doing that. We do that all the time. We don't wait for cost of living crises. We don't wait for times to be particularly bad. We put the people of Wyre and their needs at the forefront of everything we do all of the time. So there doesn't need to be any adjustment in our policies, there doesn't need to be any adjustment in our approach because we already do it.
Sir Robert, would you like to come in now, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, without the party polemic, I think colleagues across the piece will remember last council meeting that I raised a particular question specific to Wyre in relation to the difficulties with the cost of living crisis and other things. So what I'm seeking tonight, through you, Councillor Vincent, but also through the leadership, is reassurance that those people who are likely to suffer because of the problems of energy and heating and cost of living and other things, where we can, that we will make resources available, either financial or in real terms, to help them. And that as a council, again across the piece, that we believe, as you say, that we look out for the people of our borough, regardless of party politics, but that since we are the leadership of this group, and this council, we need to ensure that people are aware that we are standing ready to help them, and that we have funds, resources and commitment to do so.
Here, 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 here.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I won't repeat the parts that are already in the resources portfolio holder report, all the parts that are in Barry's report, because members have those before them, but I think it would be sensible for me to give an update on the household support in part 3. Parts 1 and 2 were quite targeted, whereas part 3 is a little bit looser in the requirements. So we don't yet have confirmation of the amount from LCC. I would call on LCC to confirm that as soon as possible. In their defence, that they have lost 2 key members of staff very recently, which explains the delay, but we do need that figure so that we can start making more specific plans. Generally speaking though, we're going to do what we always do, which is look at who perhaps missed out, first of all from trenches 1 and 2. We've identified that as students who weren't covered by the first 2, and also people living in HMOs where perhaps the landlord benefited from these schemes. They maybe have metered gas and electric, and so that didn't then come through to them. So we will be trying to target those people, but then the best use of the money to reach the most people we can is to look to the charities that know who needs the help already. There's no point trying to put in place new methods of applications and whatever else. It doesn't get the money out quickly, it doesn't help people quickly. So we're looking with the food banks, domestic violence charities, and then supporting the charity sector to provide the workplaces support.
Yeah, that concludes the consideration of the leader's report. We'll now move on to the report of the resources portfolio holder. So Councillor Michael Vinton, will you please introduce your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Going back to the point I was just making, I think we're almost in November now, so in terms of an update, the work done to help people during winter was done in the summer. There's no point doing it now, it's too late. So there's not much of an update on my report other than to say at 4.2, the figure is now 248 households, £37,200. So it's a nominal change to the number of households supported, but we've already had a great number. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Councillor Lady Atkins, you have a
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Under 4.3, we have paid out just over 48,000 in total, awaiting reimbursement from Lancashire County Council. Do we know when this is going to come to the borough?
We would like it straight away. That doesn't seem to be their preference.
Right.
We don't have a date yet, but hopefully sooner rather than later. But they don't want to pay straight away.
Right, that concludes the consideration of the resources portfolio holders report. We'll now move on to the report of the street scenes, parks and open spaces portfolio holder. Councillor Bridge, would you please introduce your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report's in front of me. If anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate.
Councillor Fail.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The latest set of quarterly figures don't show much of an improvement in terms of action against dog fouling, i.e. 1 fixed penalty notice into 0. Dog exclusion and dog lead FPNs may have been dished out, but it's a far more serious issue of dog fouling that residents want to see tackled. Reporting of complaints may be down on the same period last year, but the problem is still there, reported or unreported. If reports are down, then it probably shouldn't be a surprise. After all, residents need to have the faith that the problem is being tackled. Over a short period in January and February this year, I reported over 30 instances of dog fouling on Beach Road, Cleveland. So district enforcement have the intelligence to know where to tackle the problem in Jubilee Ward. And I'm sure that's the case for most, if not all, other wards. It just requires a will to deal with the offences in the hard-to-do pile, rather than deal with offences in the easy-to-do pile. Without the matter being tackled by district enforcement, I suspect residents will once again this winter be faced with having to negotiate a minefield on Beach Road. Can we therefore please give dog fouling hotspots a higher priority and begin to tackle this problem? And I know we've discussed this before, earlier, but catching those failing to pick up after dog dogs may not be an easy task, but asking dog owners to demonstrate that they have the means to pick up is easy. And if we don't do this already, can we collect stats on the number of dog owners that have been asked to demonstrate a means to pick up, please? Thank you.
Alison, would you like to respond, please?
Yeah, I recognise it's a perennial problem. As a dark and historian, unfortunately people behave antisocially, don't pick up after the dogs. There's no excuse, that's just the way it is. Now, with regard to targeting hotspots, yeah, that's what we do, but we'll look at it afresh, and when we get information such as from yourself, then of course we will pass that on and expect that to be acted upon. With regard to only one FPN being issued, I don't know whether the glass is half empty or half full, but we've found, first of all, that from 2012 onwards, the number of incidents has actually fallen. Dog fouling, we're prepared to pick up, but we're also finding that people were hoping have got the message that we're educating the public into carrying the bags, which does really show that it is happening in that we have fewer people who are being fined for not carrying bags. Hopefully people are getting that message and picking up after their dogs. That's what we don't want to enforce, to fine people. We would much prefer to educate them so that they would conform to what is required of them. Not everybody's going to do it. You and I know that. That's a really good suggestion. Thank you for about maybe in our compilation of the numbers how many people are approached. I think that would work, and you suggested that earlier, and I've taken it on board and mentioned it already, so thank you for that. We're always looking for ways to improve, always, and of course we're the people on the ground, we're the ones that know what's going on, and you're the eyes and ears of us, and so thank you for that. And anybody who has any other constructive suggestions, please don't hesitate.
Councillor Stoker, you have a question, please?
Congratulations on Custom House Square, it's fabulous. Love it. But in the photographs, I didn't see any Fleetwood councillors. Can I ask, were any invited? I was there.
We did have some Fleetwood councillors. I must be honest, I wasn't involved that deeply in who was invited to it. I mean, I would have loved to have seen, Wyre councillors, not just Fleetwood councillors, because it's a beautiful little spot. My dog particularly liked it. Although, I did embarrass me and chase a cat. So, at all these events, I've seen Fleetwood dues, and I know how you turn out for all these things, and it's important, and I get it. And I'm sorry if you didn't get the information, I don't know, but it is a lovely little facility, isn't it? It's really nice, and so many people put so much work into it, and not just Wyre Council, but of course I'll take the praise for Wyre Council. Next time there's something happening in Fleetwood, I'll make sure that
All council, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lady Atkins, your question, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just number 2.2. Robert and Alice and I went along to that, and it was really good. And I've learnt now how to make a paper bag out of the newspaper sheet of paper, and I planted seeds, etc. But what was so good was the fact that youngsters were there, and they were absolutely thrilled by it because it was something to do, which I think is so important, taking part. So I believe next year they're going to make it a bigger thing, and I thank all the rangers and everybody else who took part, because it was a really good setup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The staff worked really hard to make it a success of this, and obviously by what you've seen, it's happened. So we expect to see you there next year. It'll be a lot bigger. Thank you.
Councillor George, please, your question?
Thank you. Just two things. First thing is, it was about Custom House Square, about being a really informative morning. It was really good to hear the guy, I can't remember his name, telling us all about the history and everything, so it was really good for that. And secondly, with regards to the comment you made about fly tipping, the issue we was having at the back of Jones Grove which has been a massive issue for a long time. I've spoken to you about it a few times. It's really good to see that it is now starting. Things are hopefully starting to happen with it, and we are starting to see improvements, so thank you to the guys for that.
I mean, thanks for that. We talked about targeting earlier, and that's what it's all about. Councillors like yourselves coming forward and actually pointing out these problems that enables us to be able to do that. With regard to it was a chap from the Fleetwood Museum. Ben Whittaker. Sorry, Ben Whittaker. Anyway, nice guy, very informative, but Fleetwood's got so much fantastic history. I just think it's a shame that we don't publish it more. I mean, you could go on a walk around, a historical walk around Fleetwood, and you know, I walk around there and stunning buildings, fabulous open spaces, and Fleetwood's got a lot to shout about, and we should just shout even louder.
Come and do a walk at night on the 25th of November. Switch on. Everybody likes switch on there. Our family with the lanterns.
Councillor Kay, please, your question.
Statement actually. I'd like to thank Councillor Bridge for his team from the Rangers. We had a spout of antisocial behaviour the other night, which led to the fire service coming out. Wyre cleaned all the rubbish away promptly in the early hours of the morning, so it was great that we have sort of cleared that away. So I'd like to thank your team for that. And also to Sandra for the pumpkin event. Had a wonderful time, and what we put on for the children in Wyre is fabulous. So many children. I turned my back for 1 minute, and when I turned round, there was hundreds of children around her, and she made some fantastic savouries to taste. So we send my regards and say thank you very much. It's wonderful.
Thank you, she's great, isn't she? As ever, the team are fantastic. We don't see them a lot. They just it happens in the background. We see a mess, we walk past it, report it. Next thing you know, it's gone. We are blessed with our entire team that we have, not just in the department that I'm responsible for, but when you look at all the hard work the officers do, I just think we're very, very lucky here in Wyre.
Councillor Sean Turner, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just 2.2 again, as Councillor Atkins has mentioned. The turnout was actually brilliant. You go to a number of these type of events, and they can be hit and miss, but there's actually lots going on, lots to actually engage with. So there was lots of people giving up the time, officers from here, Alison Bowden and Sammy Gray, on a Saturday morning, or Saturday daytime, because they ran all day. But and there was stuff from Lancashire County Council, Cozy Homes, about insulate people taking steps to share the house. So lots of good information in there, and lots of interest, and nobody was gluing themselves to the doors or anything. So it's good to see. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. As you just pointed out, our officers go above and beyond.
Great, thank you for that. That concludes the consideration of the street scenes, parks and open spaces portfolio holders report. We will now move on to the report of the planning policy and economic development portfolio. Councillor Collinson, would you please introduce your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's just want to make a statement on item 3. I would just like to thank Fiona and her team for all their work on the local plan partial review. It was 2 days, and I think the inspector was surprised at the information we got. Obviously, it's out to a 6-week consultation now, so we hope to get those results back before about December time, and then we can bring it to full council in January.
Any questions?
I'm willing to take any questions.
No question. That concludes the consideration of the planning policy and economic development portfolio holders report. We will now move on to the report of the neighbourhood services and community safety portfolio holder. So, Councillor Berry, would you please introduce your report?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. My report is before colleagues, and I'll do my best to answer any questions.
You would first off they're not there. Sir Robert.
I'm learning. Thank you very much. First of all, I declare a brief interest, non-pecuniary one, in relation to the community safety aspect of this. My daughter put the Domestic Abuse Act on the statute book, and so she would ask me to inquire at any event as to what's going on. So if I may offer you, through you, Madam Mayor, congratulations to Councillor Wyre for what is being going on there, which is substantial. But following on from my earlier question to the leader, can you explain a little more detail what work you've been doing and plan to do to help those people who have agreed need assistance during difficult times? And in asking that question, again, I congratulate you on what you've done so far.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Well, basically, I did sort of lay out at the last meeting sort of some strands of where we thought we could help our residents who have difficulties. And one of them, obviously, we're building on the work that's going to be done by the County Council in providing warm centres for people in libraries. I mean, hopefully there will be a main one at Fleetwood, but we're hoping also that it will be run out also at the libraries in other areas where they will at least be able to offer tea and light refreshments to people coming in who need a bit of warmth and a bit of company. Obviously, we will be doing extending on that offer to help other organisations which have indicated their interest in it, in particular the town councils and parish churches and other sort of areas like that. And we should be asking them, is there anything we can do to help you, say, fund sort of getting some food and drinks in, things like that? Is there anything you need from us? We'll do what we can to help. So that's one sort of strand. The second strand is that we are looking to fund as best as we can some help into food banks. We're seeing there are various government sort of funds available, and we're trying to see if we can apply them to give a bit of funding to the food banks to make sure that they can operate successfully. Thirdly, sort of our care and repair team are working as best they can to help people. In particular, one of the things they do, I think I mentioned this last time, that we try and make sure that everyone's claiming the benefits they're entitled to. And in fact, I think this month potentially we've got about £140,000 benefits if the applications are accepted, for residents, and that's going to help people, enormously. But I think the fourth thing that we've done is, if everybody looks on the Wyre website, you will see that we've got quite a big piece on how can we help you if you are suffering difficulties, and I do recommend members have a look at that, because if you go on the Wyre website, the first thing it's flagged up there. If you've got any problems, please look at this website. And there's a host of information about, if you've got any difficulties, whether it's financial, heating or otherwise, where to get help, etc. So can I thank the Constings for doing that? I think they've done a fantastic job, and all the officers who put into it. But that's what we're doing at the moment. No doubt the scene will develop. Thank you.
Well done.
Councillor Lady Atkins, please.
Yes. 3.3 and 3.4, I'm delighted that things are moving on as regards the Ukrainian community, especially at Rossall School. They've obviously done incredibly well, and nearer home at St Mary's and St Michael's. And it's so important that these youngsters learn the English language, although they pick it up pretty quickly, don't they? What about parents? Are they being helped as regards learning the language as well? Thank you.
In all honesty, I don't think I can answer that question. I'm sure every help is being given to. I mean, there are sort of representatives who are trying to encourage people to settle and to understand the language, etc. But I think we've got to remember also that quite a few Ukrainians are returning. In fact, we're finding that in Wyre. And one or two are going to universities and further educations, which is a good thing in this country. So they are developing in their own little ways, and I'm sure that they've enjoyed their stay in Wyre, and those that are going to stay, I'm sure they're going to be very welcome to be amongst us, because they are very hard-working people.
Thank you. Councillor Sturziker.
It's okay.
You're all right.
Good answer.
I've got Councillor Moon. Have you got a question, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just following on from our little chat the other night, it's 4.2, and the coastal defence works, it says, are due to commence in March 2023, and whether you want to look over your shoulder for it or not. Are those, is it set in stone? Are they definitely going to go ahead? Because I think it's very important that they do go ahead and that there's no slippage.
Yeah, that's our best estimate. I mean, I think the only thing that we're dependent on is getting this marine management organisation licence, and it's been devil known problems getting this licence. It's been quite a difficult sort of application to deal with, to be quite honest, and we're not the only ones who found it very difficult dealing with this organisation. In fact, I remember about 6 months ago there was sort of a plea in the local government association thing that we get every week saying, are any councils experienced difficulty with the marine management organisation, please contact us, because what they were sort of holding up schemes going through, and these schemes do in fact increase in cost. We have really engaged with the MMO now, and we're working with them very, very well after making some very significant complaints about the lack of progress. We work through those now, we're working with them, we're very confident that we will get that licence before March, but we are dependent on it. Apart from that, we're ready to go.
Maybe Mr. Payne can make it his mission before he actually retires.
Mr. Payne's already been involved. Let's move it forward.
Right, Councillor Ballard, I've got you down next, please.
Yeah, it's reference to the food bank, because you know I do a lot of work within the food bank, and the support that you're offering will be greatly received, because it is getting harder as the time is going along. We are seeing problems arising, and any support that can be shown to food banks will be very much appreciated. Just to also let you know, and it's at St. Peter's Church, on Monday night they offer a three-course meal to anyone that wishes to go in Fleetwood. You know, I think these things should be put onto Wyre and emphasised, and so people know where these places are. Thank you.
Yeah, they are doing very valuable work, and I think that is mentioned on the website, but it is a question, as you can imagine, in a lot of cases, word of mouth, isn't it, and that people engage with people who are obviously suffering difficulties. I think this is going to be important. It's not just organisations. I feel it's the duty of us councillors and parish councils to sort of see who's suffering, who's got problems and issues. I think that's one of our main duties, actually, to watch out for people who are possibly on their own and not speaking out. So I think that's an important feature that we should stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the comments.
Yeah, debt causes loneliness and isolation. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that concludes the consideration of the Neighbourhood Services and Community Safety Portfolio Holders Report. We'll now move on to the report of the Leisure, Health and Community Engagement Portfolio Holder. So, Councillor Bowen, would you please introduce your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My report's before you now. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, Councillor Lady Atkins, please.
Sorry about this. Just to say, as regards 3.2 and to do with tourism, thank you to you, Lynn, and Mary Ann Hesketh for having the web meeting a few weeks ago as regards the library. That was much appreciated. I'd also like to say a big thank you to the communications team who I met last Thursday at the library, and they were going through the various things of the relocation of the tourism. And I have to say to Lancashire County Council, because I know you've got a pot of money for refurbishing the library, it really is now a bright and welcoming place that, and none of the books will be disappearing because all the bookshelves are going to remain there. And I think it's going to be quite an exciting time, so thank you all and the communications team for what you're doing. Thank you.
Like to respond there? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot better at the library because for one thing it's going to be open 6 days a week and with a late night on Thursday.
plus the fact that there's people going to be coming in and going out all the time, not like the TIC where it was, well, quite frankly, it was hardly ever open anyway. So yeah, and I'll pass it on to the communications team. They're doing a fantastic job, brilliant job.
Councillor Rayner, please, your question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's more of a comment, really. It's absolutely brilliant to see the Fleetwood Beer and Cider Festival back at Marine Hall after COVID, and long may it continue. And just a quick question for a couple of members of the Labour group. When are the councillors getting the free tasting session?
Plenty of tasting sessions, I don't know about them being... Sorry.
No,
Councillor Stacey, did you indicate?
No.
No, sorry. Well, Councillor Sean Turner, please.
Thank you. No, I just heard libraries mentioned and Pretty Lorraine's not here. But absolutely what Councillor Atkins said about that library, that the government gave us some money which enabled us to put some money back into some of our libraries. Part of the Civic fund that we've done through Bays. And it really is a spot on place now, and all going well, and hosting a lot more groups in there as well. So we actually built that up. Not only the county council reopened the library group, we're actually building them all back up and making them really important hubs. And just through closing, Lorraine's not here, so she can't answer that. But I just couldn't resist.
Okay, we know the answer.
Yeah,
We're not allowed to say it.
Thank you. I think that concludes the consideration of the Leisure, Health and Community Engagement Portfolio Holders Report. Now is the opportunity for the members of the Cabinet to make any comments or ask questions on the reports of their colleagues. Any comments? No? Okay then. That concludes the consideration of the Executive Report. We will now move on to the agenda item 8, which is the Honorary Alderman. Councillor Michael Vincent, would you please introduce the report and propose a recommendation? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We all agree it's really good that this has come to us before the election, when a lot of people will choose to stand down and make up of the council will change. So it's important that we do this tonight. Rita served the borough diligently with enthusiasm for everything that she did during 2 spells in Victoria Ward for 2007 and then in Cleveland Park. Nobody deserved this honour more than Rita. It's just a shame for Ian and her family, the borough and the council that it has to be awarded posthumously. I'm happy to move the motion.
Is there a seconder for the proposal?
I'll say it, Madam Mayor.
Are there any comments, questions or amendments? No. We'll just go straight to the vote then. All in favour, please. That's a unanimous decision. Thank you very much. The next item is the Fleetwood Market Improvements Works. Councillor Michael Vincent, would you please introduce the report? Councillors are reminded that it was published as a little main agenda. There's a separate purpose, so the purpose of the recommendation. Michael, would you like to please introduce this report, please?
Yeah, Fleetwood Market is a historical asset. It's key to the economy of Wyre, to tourism, to Fleetwood High Street, to the whole borough. It's a lot of money. There's absolutely no way of pretending otherwise, but there's a lot of money that needs to be spent, and if we don't spend it, we'll end up with rubble on our hands rather than an asset. So it's not a fun thing to do to sign a cheque like that, but it's a cheque that needs signed.
Is there a seconder for the proposal?
I'll second, Madam Mayor.
Comments and questions or amendments? I think we've got Councillor Sturgis, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. While Labour approve of the necessary structural improvements because it's important to us that the market survives and thrives, as per 4.1, it is vital for our economy and tourism. The recovery of the town is partially dependent on the success or otherwise of our wonderful market. So we're in agreement. Unusual. What is concerning is that highlighted at 4.2 of the report is that the cost of the scheme is now 1.9 million, when previously it was 979,000. It is of importance that these market improvements are undertaken. Does this not highlight the need to deal with necessary repairs and improvements in good time, rather than allowing the cost to spiral by kicking the can down the road? Fix the roof while the sun is shining? And the necessary repairs have been completed at a good time, where council taxpayers would have been able to save a lot of money. Can I ask why it wasn't?
Yeah, what with? Quite simply, Councillor Serzica, we have a big long list of capital programme. Not all of the additional cost is inflation. Some of it is, but not all of it. Our surveyors, when they look at an asset, could only look at it with a view to estimating what the cost will be. What they can't do is take bits of the roof off, get up on the roof, etc., etc., etc. You all know what it's like when you have a job done on your house. You go in, you look at something, you find other things. So there's part of that, but also the capital programme as it was already more than we could afford. With inflation, with heating costs like I've just outlined, quite simply we don't have the money to do that. We would have to borrow huge amounts of money to actually go and do these things proactively across the board. We don't have it and we won't borrow it. So unfortunately, sort of taking the approach that we have done, which has been to do the necessary repairs as and when, and then at the appropriate time deal with these larger scale works. It's done to fit in with the sale of the grant for the carbon works, so all of that fits in together. So it's the right time to do it, but the reality is we couldn't really do it any sooner because we couldn't afford it.
Thank you. Any more comments or questions? Yes. Councillor Gerard, would you? Thank you.
Councillor Vincent, the one concern I've got is about the tenants in the market. Can you reassure us that we won't lose so many of these people that have been with us for such a long time, and they disappear? I know I've read 531, and you said that things, it won't be too much of a disruption to them, but I feel that we were going to lose some people.
Yeah. If you've been to the market, Councillor, you'll see that actually at the moment when it rains, water falls in.
Yes.
That's much more of a risk of losing tenants than fixing the roof. There will be disruption, but most of the tenants are long-standing ones. They see the market as a key part of their business. I'm confident that we won't. Unfortunately, if we lose the odd one, that's better than the option if we don't do the work, and that's that we'll lose all of these sort of close.
Thank you very much, Councillor Vincent. As I say, I am worried that we will lose.
We're doing what we can to mitigate that.
Yeah. Any more questions? So any debate? No. That concludes the debate. So would members please vote now on the recommendation? Those in favour, please show. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Right, the recommendation is approved. The next item is the mid-year Treasury Management Report. So, Councillor Michael Vincent, would you please introduce the report and propose the recommendation?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to propose the report. Obviously, the members will see the interest rates here are somewhat different to the interest rates that you hear on the news. It's funny, banks like charging you interest rates higher than the one that they'll actually pay to you, but also there is an issue obviously with fixed term bonds and whatever. Claire and the team are always looking at ways that they can maximise our income from our savings. We've recently signed a decision, a current decision that basically says that we are now debt free. We've paid off the debt that we have because during the, I would say the trust years, but the trust days and the issues that we had with the economy, our officers are so good and on it that they identified the potential benefit to the council, and they actually, rather than being asked to pay anything up to £1 million in interest to pay it off early, the £1.5 million that we had to pay, we pay less than £1.5 million, we got 60 grand off that by paying all upfront, so we're now debt free. So So that's the sort of officers that we have in the finance department, and Claire and the team need to be commended for that. As I say, the rates of return are constantly under review, and it can be improved on, they will, but this is the position as it is today.
Is there a seconder for the proposal?
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? Comments? No? Well, we'll go straight to the vote then, please. Oh, sorry. I think we're going to the vote now. Right. Right. Those in favour, please show. Yeah, that's a unanimous decision. Thank you very much. The recommendation is approved. The next item is the computer use policy and user agreement, ICT and digital transformation strategies 2022-23 to 2026-27. So again, Councillor Vincent, would you please introduce the report and propose a recommendation?
Thank you, Emma. This is one of the stranger items that have come before us, in that it feels really unnecessary for this to be before us, because it seems to just change ands for ambersands and capital C's for lowercase c's, but as long as members aren't particularly attached to their capital letters, I'm happy.
Is there a seconder for the proposal? Thank you. Any comments, questions or amendments? No? We'll go straight to the vote again, please. Those in favour? That's a unanimous decision. Thank you very much. The next item is the calendar of meetings for 23-24. So Councillor Michael Vincent, would you please introduce the report and propose the recommendation?
It's the full members, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for the proposal? Thank you. Is there any comments or questions or amendments? No? Straight to the vote then. Those in favour? Yeah, unanimous decision. Thank you very much. The next item is the periodic report of the Licensing Committee. So, Councillor Cartridge, would you please introduce the report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report's for members. I'm very happy to answer any questions.
Is there any comments or questions? So, Councillor Cartridge? Yes, Councillor Martin.
Thank you very much. Thank Councillor Cartridge and his committee for the work that they do. Often licensing goes under the radar, most public as planning, but it's just as important. And particularly with the application in Cleveland on Jubilee Park, members who know anything about that will know that was the correct decision, protected the public and people who would work. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to also thank the Licensing Committee for the work they've done, but I'd also like to thank Patrick Cantley, who's our new licensing officer. He's only joined us a few months ago, and I know he's been sterling work with us, and I'm glad that he settled down well with the Licensing Committee. It's a great report that's before. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Would you like to respond now, Councillor Cartridge?
Yes, I'd like to say about Patrick, he's come in with lots of fresh ideas, he's hit the ground running, he's made an excellent start. I had a meeting with him last month to talk about the onward journey with licensing for the next 12 months. A really positive and a very proactive person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the report is noted. The next item is a notice of motion. However, there are none, so that concludes the business for this evening, and the meeting is closed. So thank you for all attending. Thanks very much.
Councillor, please be upstanding.